Kyle's got my back.
Sorry if I don't look at you guys directly in the eyes. I get a little bit nervous just looking at how I've always been someone who asks a lot of questions. Even as a kid, I was never satisfied with a simple answer. Growing up in Mexico, I saw a lot of poverty and a lot of violence. To be a kid, used to kids my age having to carry weapons to school, to me it was a bit troubling. But in Mexico, it seemed normal. Nobody seemed to question me or did anything about it, so I assumed it was alright. Looking back, I developed two minds, a light and a dark. The light cares about other people, it talks about my feelings, and it wants to help. But the dark is the one that can see the violence. It does not express my feelings and accepts things just the way they are. Growing up, going to the US was a big deal. I remember seeing pictures of Hollywood Boulevard and thinking, wow, there's a street made of stars here? I remember being happy just to be in the US. It was always warm. We always had delicious food. When I opened the fridge, there was pizza, burgers, hot dogs. I explored the fridge for months. I didn't know that the schools were filled with gang affiliates. When I got here, it was just fight after fight after fight. It made me think, okay, so I have great food, great clothes, but I still have the same violence. Middle school was good for me, but it was bad for my relationship with my family. I focused so much on girls and doing things to impress them. These were usually the things that got me into trouble. I was a leader for kids my own age, but I was following older kids. I started drinking and smoking when I was in 5th grade. Got into a fight when I was in 12 that put me on probation. That year, I was approached by a friend to sell drugs. He said no one would suspect the kid. I was good at it, and the selling came natural. One day I was approached by a drug addict. She had no teeth, and she was not doing well. I sold her the drugs anyways, but I felt bad about it. When I asked my boss, he told me I had it all wrong. We were just living the system. It was a part of good exchange of goods and services. See, that lady was feeling bad because she didn't have the drug, and I was helping her feel better. I didn't agree, but I didn't question it any further. Things were going well. I had money to take out girls, and I could buy nice things. But not so nice, because it would be suspicious. By this time, I had come to accept my two sides. It's easier than you may think. Having a dark side that allowed me not to feel guilty. I just blocked all my feelings, I guess. By 8th grade, I had figured out how to live and survive in two worlds. I met my best friend Matt that year. We were always messing around. We laughed a lot. He was my friend that I could do everything with. We could have played basketball, football, or just playing video games, being kids. Even with the girls, we were like the dream team. We spent almost every day together. By high school, I was getting better grades. Doing well in high school is important for my family. My parents used to say, we didn't bring you here to go to jail, or just to get an ordinary job. I wasn't the black sheep anymore. My family started to believe in me, and give me trust. But I was still hanging out with the wrong crowd outside of school. In December of my sophomore year, Matt and I got into a fight. We had been playing around, and he got mad. I apologized, but he didn't accept it. A few weeks later, he called me to hang out. But I wanted to hang out with the girls, so I said no. I figured, I'll see him tomorrow. On January 3rd, 2009, at 10 a.m., I got a call. My best friend Matthew had been killed. I later learned that he was with a guy throwing rocks at a car. It was the wrong car. They stabbed him and he bled to death. I had experienced death before. that losing my best friend was the hardest thing. Because he was a part of my life every day. I had to learn how to live without him. Matthew always knew when there was something wrong, and he pushed me to come with him. I felt guilty. I could have been there. Would it have been different if I had? And would they have listened to me? But then, I'm gonna die too. But if I had died, would he still be alive? I attempted to go to school, but it wasn't working. I started smoking marijuana, cigarettes, and drinking. I did have people to talk to, but I kept it all to myself. I blocked out a large part of the next few months. I didn't care. I got kicked out of high school. 4 more friends were murdered. But it wasn't the same. I wasn't the same. I didn't feel the same way about their deaths. I just didn't feel like it. I went back on probation and got locked up. The first 5 days alone in the cell were life-changing. Out here, I have every kind of way to block out things that happened in my life. But there, I was in a room with a bed and a toilet. And memories came rushing by. I thought about how I'd hurt my real family, doing all these things for my street family, and I had never questioned them or their lifestyle, but I realized that mentality had killed my best friend. Those fights weren't about us or him. They started way before us, and I realized that that was not my fight. My family, my girlfriend, and Fly were the only ones that were there for me when I was incarcerated. My street family, they didn't do anything for me. I realized the Fly has helped me by being there. I've been in Fly for 2 years. After I got out, I opened up and put a different face. When I first met Fly in the law program, they were nice. But I wasn't in that place, and I didn't take it seriously. But the second time, it was different, and so was I. After the leadership retreat, I talked to Tara about Matthew dying. I had not spoken to anyone about him. I just tried to block him out, like he never existed. When I think about myself then, I was insane. You know, I kept doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. I expected the lies to become true, and I expected my actions to have a different outcome. I had stopped questioning or even thinking. Before, I used to live like an eye for an eye. I thought that it would be okay to hurt people if they had hurt me or my family, or just people I love. I accepted, I had come to accept that if you live by the gun, you die by the gun. And that was my motto. And I used to represent a place, and I would fight for the basis of those associations. But that changed with Matthew. I realized that mentality took my friend's life. And now, when people ask me where I rep, I say Earth. I came up with a saying. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, just like change is in the heart of the soldier. Even though things have gotten messed up, I know I'm still going to get somewhere. Right now, I am on track to graduating on January. The plan is to go to Foothill. The plan is to go to Foothill, then transfer to a 4-year university. I always like math and science, so I would like to study biology and discover new types of animals, or astronomy, so I can learn about life on other planets, or study how big the universe is. Nowadays, when I think that things are getting rough, I just remember, even when it's dark, you can see the stars.